Okay, just letting everyone know that we are now starting the meeting. It is approximately 6:03. Sorry, I just realized the monitor is not working because it's not plugged in. Give me a moment. I'm sorry. Okay. Welcome to the Abraham Lincoln PTA meeting, our monthly meeting. Next. Just want to call some things, some ground rules so that everyone is aware. In order to alleviate unintentional background noise, I ask that everyone please put yourself on mute unless you are the one who is speaking. I greatly appreciate that. Some other things, be respectful of one another. We've all had a very long day at work or at home or just in general, especially dealing with our children. So we all want to be respectful of one another. We all have various opinions. So agree to disagree. And if anyone is disrespectful at any time for any reason, you will be immediately removed from the meeting and not be allowed back in. Of course, it goes the other way around as well. Not that it has happened, but the teachers as well. We ask that you guys be respectful as well, if at all possible. Next. For those of you who have not done so already, we do have an election that's going on this evening, right after Mr. Hoogenboom speaks. Thank you, Mr. Hoogenboom, for coming on. And we ask that you please get your verification pin from either Mr. Robinson or from Mr. Capizzo. Both are accessible on your on chat. If for some reason you're not able to chat, then please raise your hand and I'll allow for quick discussions so that the verification pin can be provided, or at least they can set up the verification pin for you. And the reason for the verification pins is so that you are able to, one, run for the election positions that are coming up, and two, so that you can vote. This verification pin is almost similar to the security guards when you first enter the school. They validate that we're who we say we are, not there yet, that we are who we say we are, and that we're allowed inside the school. So on a virtual level, this is the same thing. I also forgot to mention one more thing. Please, any questions that you may have at all possible, please put them in the chat. I have several people monitoring the chat that they will either allow for the questions to be asked during the meeting when the person is speaking, or if it's not relevant at that time, we will have it towards our Q&A session at the end of the meeting. Next. This is our members, and one thing I forgot to state is my name is Leah Scott. I am the PTA, or one of the two PTA presidents on our executive board. My child is in the 11th grade and is also an athletic member with soccer that I believe just ended, and now on the track team. Ms. Brown, or Mr. Jones first, sorry.
Good evening. My name is Mr. Jones. I'm the co-chair, PTA president. My son is in the 10th grade. I'll pass it on to Ms. Brown.
Thank you. Good evening. My name is Ms. Brown. My son is in the 12th grade. He's a senior, doing great things. And I am the vice president for the PTA. And I will pass it to Mr. Sandor.
Sure. Hi, I'm Chris Sandor. I'm the one of the co-treasurers. My son Nick is a sophomore in the law program.
And I'm Maggie Sandor. I'm the PTA recording secretary, and I have the same son in the law program. And I think
Ms. Attwood, you still have another 30 minutes with us.
Hi, my name is Marie-Helene Attwood. I was a co-treasurer with Mr. Sandor, and I hope that in this election we get somebody worthy to be a co-treasurer with Mr. Sandor, who was a pleasure to work with. So I highly recommend anyone interested in joining the executive board. It's a great position to have.
Okay, now we'll go on to the administration and teacher staff. I will not be asking the parents to introduce themselves for the simple fact that this is being recorded. The only time I will ask for you to introduce yourselves is if you decide to partake in the election as an electee. Okay, whoever wants to start on the teachers, say who you are and what grade you teach. Or administration, what your role is. Don't everybody jump at once.
Okay. Oh, all right, good.
No, I'll go quick because Mr. Hoogenboom, we're so honored to have you here tonight. So my name is Mr. Capizzo. I'm a 9th grade algebra teacher, working diligently with the PTA as always.
He
I'm
is
already-
the PTA
Okay,
somebody.
Everyone has a somebody at Lincoln.
Mhm.
I'm Ari Hoogenboom. I'm the principal of Abraham Lincoln High School.
Hi, I'm David Robinson. I'm the assistant principal of guidance at Lincoln.
I'm Carlos Molina. I teach photography at Lincoln, and I'm also the senior activities advisor, and I'm also running the yearbook.
And I believe that's all our teachers. Thank you so much. We do have phenomenal, between the teachers and an administration. Thank you so much for the support that you do, not just with the school, but with the PTA. Also on our staff, a lot of the people that are on the PTA are also part of the SLT team. Some people who I'm not sure if they want to talk or introduce themselves. Myself, Mr. Jones, Miss Brown, and Miss Attwood are all part of the SLT, but we also have a Miss Alston as well as Miss Jones. And then the new Title I team is actually Miss Samantha Filbert, who is our chair, and Miss Lakia Jones. They were just voted in last month. So congratulations again. Miss Alston and Miss Brown were the previous Title I members, and now, I'm sorry, Title I team, and now they are just dropped down to members for advisory. So thank you very much. Moving on. Ms. Sandor, if you can briefly discuss, so then we can go and have Mr. Hoogenboom speak. Thank you.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Oh, geez. Sorry. Last meeting, we briefly had Miss Meredith Kelly, who was the college advisor, talk about college readiness and college prep, and went over the programs for each grade and what's available. We did speak about the financial report and the dues that were transferred in. Thank you very much. We talked about the website and how there are translations for various languages available there for all the documents and all the posts, and that the Facebook post of the oh dear, I just lost my document. I'm sorry. The Facebook group where the recording is posted also offers translations. If you go onto the YouTube, there's translations available there for anyone who's looking for that. I'm sorry, I'm actually having a bit of technical difficulties. Let me try one more thing. I'm so sorry. Okay, there we go. Okay, so we had a fundraising report with our chocolate sale, which is ongoing until 11/27. If anyone has not yet ordered their delicious chocolate, please do so. I'll drop a flyer in the chat in a minute. It's delivered right to your door. Couldn't be easier. We had the Title I discussion and talked about the Title I committee's work and had a Title I election. We had talked about the family healing presentation and the teacher's corner. Mr. Capizzo talked about the Lincoln Somebody and just went through updating updates on the calendar, as well as school events like the food drive and report cards, etc. There was discussion about the two initiatives, which are to
Join the meeting.
parent registration to the communication systems, Operoo, PupilPath, and the schools account. And the PTA is partnering and will match the food drive donation for new registrations there, as well as be involved with the attendance extravaganza event for students going to be held in January. Requested volunteers. We discussed a calendar review and had an extended Q&A about the upcoming school events. The full minutes are always posted on the school's website. So if anybody wants any further details, you can refer to them there. And if you need a translation, please reach out to the PTA mailbox and we'll be happy to try to accommodate that. Thank you.
Okay, next. All right, the next is going to be Mr. Hugo. There he goes. I thought he left us. Is going to be our wonderful principal, Mr. Hoogenboom. Just real quick, I do want to mention if anyone is interested in putting their hat or their name, I should say, in for election for the co-treasurer or the corresponding secretary, please message me privately or put it in the chat. This way I can start setting up the polls and we're not wasting everyone's time. You can also message me privately or Ms. Brown if you want a little bit more details for those two positions. Mr. Hoogenboom, the floor is now yours.
Okay, first of all, thank you everyone for coming to the PTA meeting. It's in many respects it's easier on Zoom, but you know, at the same time it is an inconvenience and we really do appreciate it. This week we did device distribution. We finally got the amount of devices that we should have. We have an extra large 9th grade class, 700 students, and the middle schools were explicitly ordered not to collect the devices, but some of them did. And so it was a little bit confusing at first, but now we finally have enough devices. I'm talking laptops mostly, even though some students still have iPads. We got enough devices so that every student is going to have a device. Now, by the middle of next week, if your child does not have a device, please let us know, because we're going to try to complete it all tomorrow and then do a little bit of cleanup. But by Wednesday, I guess the day before Thanksgiving, right, you can let us know if for some reason your child fell between the cracks. Now, just to talk about our goals with devices, it's a little bit tricky because, of course, when you're remote, you use various platforms, and I think we did a wonderful job last year conveying the lessons through various interesting platforms for our students. Now that we're back in school, we don't want to do what they call Zoom in a room. We don't want, our students are finally together. We want them to be talking with each other. We want them to be participating with each other. There's something really fun about being back in a classroom and interacting with each other. But at the same time, we want them to take advantage of the technology, and we want their teachers to take advantage of the technology. It's going to take a little while to find the right balance. And this is something that teachers are working on. This is something that we're working on. And we also have to figure out, because a lot of students are incredibly comfortable doing absolutely everything on their cell phone. So for some students, it's like, why do I even have a laptop? I don't need a laptop. What am I using a laptop for? So we have to try to figure out the right balance, how we can really make use of technology, not to claim, oh, we're using technology, aren't we good? But to really help students achieve their goals, which is, of course, to graduate 100% college and career ready. We do have 2 full-time IT people at Lincoln. And I'm sure you all know, or I hope you all know, that we have this ticket system at Lincoln so that if your child has any problems with his device, they fill out a ticket. Now, of course, here's the joke. If my device isn't working, how do I fill out a ticket? Well, come into an office and talk with us, and we'll make sure that happens, because I know it's very, very frustrating to be told, oh, just sign on, when the problem is actually with your computer. As we approach the holiday season, we're in the slog in a way. You know, the first month, everyone is on their best behavior. You know, we're all happy to be back. It's been an unbelievable strain. I think parents, you're probably kind of relieved that that your beloved children are no longer in the house all the time. But at the same time, I'm sure you're sort of suffering from this post traumatic stress, and we're still in the COVID thing. So we still have the COVID stress, but also we're trying to move on with our lives. And my message to everyone is, let's be tolerant. Let's understand that difficulties express themselves in all kinds of different ways. There's not a right way to be suffering from having been isolated away from your friends or away from many people for 18 months. People come back in all kinds of different ways. And so far, I'm just incredibly happy with the way the students at Lincoln, the faculty at Lincoln, our wonderful assistant principal guidance and his team of social workers, you know, Dave Robinson, have been doing, the Lincoln somebodies, to make sure that everyone feels valued and we understand what everyone is going through. Not necessarily understanding why they're acting out the way they are, but understanding that we do act out when we're under stress. Some of us aren't used to sitting still. Some of us aren't used to, you know, having to change out of our pajamas. And we're just getting by, and we're doing the very, very best we can. It's bizarre. Yesterday, a student came into my office. He says, I just want to meet the principal. I said, oh, really? Hi, you know, what's your name? What grade are you in? He said, 11th grade. The fact that I'm meeting an 11th grader, that an 11th grader is seeing me, seeing who the principal is just ridiculous. And that's the kind of, you know, that's what we've gone through the last 2 years. Just a few things coming up. I hope Mr. Molina will talk about this incredible bowling trip that we're going to go on, the juniors and the seniors. It's not, let's put it this way, it's not the bowling alley of my childhood, which is, you know, kind of, well, let's not even talk about it. This bowling alley is just, you know, unbelievable. And I think our seniors and juniors are going to have a great time. We have a toy drive coming up, and we have a clothing drive coming up. It's obviously, you don't really want to give somebody a you know, your dirty t-shirt, but we also do have many clothes that are still in really good shape, you know, and have been worn a little bit, and those would very, very much be welcome, and we'll make sure they're in wonderful shape. And we're going to arrange for our students to be able to go to probably to a homeless shelter where they can actually hand them out. I think it's very, very meaningful that we really engage with the people who are benefiting from our generosity. And that's something that is being arranged by our wonderful faculty. Finally, Mrs. Scott, I have to report to you that I did buy the chocolates. All right. I was really annoyed at the handling charge, but, you know, I swallowed hard and I did it. And I look forward to getting the chocolates and bringing them into Lincoln and sharing them with people. Thank you.
Thank you. I wasn't quite happy with the handling charge either, but compare the handling charge with the safety of the students so that they wouldn't have to sell them in the streets to strangers. I took the hit on that and I apologize, but these chocolates are so good. How could you not want to devour these little tiny chocolates? They're delicious, mouth-watering. Yes, I will post that link in a moment In the meantime, Mr. Hoogenboom, thank you. Does anybody have any questions before he drops off? Because I'm sure he's busy and has a meeting with his with dinner.
I just have one question. I'm not sure if Mr. Hoogenboom knows, but I've been receiving those emails saying that we now are up to 3 cases of COVID in the school. Is that a concern?
Yes, it's a concern. What these cases have been is self-reported cases, and at least 2 of them, the students hadn't even been in school for a little while before they came down with COVID. We are continuing to have COVID tests. When we contact the Situation Room immediately, and we send any of the close contacts, a list of any of the close contacts. But I'm glad you brought it up, because I am worried. I'm worried that with the cold weather, everything that we know, the flu and COVID, the cases will probably go up a little bit in the winter when people have their windows shut and stuff like that. And so I can just urge everyone to remember we're still in the pandemic, and to keep on wearing those masks, and that's the least you can do. I just saw something else in the chat, Mrs. Scott. Did you put something in there?
Yes, did I hear that they were self-reported or through school testing?
Self-reported.
Okay.
And which I really appreciate. Our students and the families are being very responsible, are coming up with us. I forget the next date that we have for the in-school testing, but we are continuing to do in-school testing, and it's obviously not done yet. As hopeful as we might be. So I hope we can continue to enjoy being in person, because last year was just it's just very disappointing.
I have no further questions. Does anyone else? Ms. Brown, are you talking to yourself or are you asking a question? I'm sorry.
So I was kind of talking, I was trying to tell another call, and I'm on an important meeting right now. Sorry about that.
Actually, there is another question.
One question, want me to read it off? Sure.
Please.
Next question is from, well, it says, good evening, everyone. When will the kids meet the principal?
Well, I try to be around, all the time, even though I do sometimes, hang out in my office to do the administrative things. But anytime, if your child hasn't yet met me, please tell them to pop into 135 and just say hello. On good days, I get to classes. Today, I visited a 9th grade English and a 9th grade math class, and just thoroughly enjoyed them. We have teachers at Lincoln who I honestly, I wish I were a 9th grader sometimes, because both those classes, it was Ms. Gaskins and Ms. Tronova. It was just wonderful. And so on the good days, I get to see some students. On the bad days, I'm sometimes in my office dealing with administrative matters. But please tell them to come visit me, because it really is a highlight for me to see students.
Okay, Mr. Hoogenboom, I think that's it. I'll call just one more time. Are there any other questions? I'll take that as a no. Well, Mr. Hoogenboom, thank you so much. We're now going to move on to the elections. You're more than welcome to stay on, but I know you have a very busy schedule, and I appreciate your time.
No, I have an important date with rice and beans, and so
Awesome.
Well, you're doing the election. I'll be gorging myself. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Good night.
Have a good night.
So
Okay,
just before we move on,
please.
Chiche Gas, again, just please message me. I've been asking who your child's name is and their date of birth so that then I can admit you to be a part of the election process. So please just send a message here with the name of your child and the date of birth, please. Thank you.
Okay, please note that if you haven't changed your name, or at least checked in stating that you're having problems with changing your name, you will not be able to, one, vote, the other, you will not be able to put your name in for a position. All right, with that being said, I would like to know, well, the slide here describes the 2 vacancies that we have, corresponding secretary as well as the co-treasurer. I'll give everyone a few moments to read the slide so you're aware of the duties. Okay, with that being said, can whoever would like to put their name in as corresponding secretary, please either put your name in the chat or let me know. I'll give everyone about a minute to respond. Again, this is for corresponding secretary. Does anybody want to nominate someone? Thank you. Anybody want to nominate themselves, or does anyone want to nominate someone for corresponding secretary? We do have a recording secretary, but they could really appreciate the assistance of sending out emails, collecting information, and just being part of the team. The great thing is we work very well and heavily with the administrative staff. Mr. Robinson hears from me at least 3 times a day. Most of it for good reasons. But they do listen to us, and we have a great partnership. When we speak for the entire, all the parents and all the students. So it is a lot of fun. It's scary to put your name in. It is a little nerve-wracking at first, but I can assure you, we have a great team and we could really appreciate the assistance if anybody wants to put their name in. All right, I am taking the silence as a no, and we will close up the corresponding secretary. I will bring that up one more time in December because I know we had a couple of names come through. I did look on email, and Miss Sandor, if you have a quick moment, you can check as well, but I didn't see that anybody was having a problem. Because this is recording, I do have to state that we did try every way possible to fill the position. The next position is co-treasurer. That basically, again, is just assisting another person. Our primary treasurer is Mr. Sandor. He's doing a phenomenal job. Ms. Attwood has been doing this almost 2.5 years, I believe, Ms. Attwood. And due to other gosh, I was gonna talk military for a second, I'm sorry. Due to other circumstances, she's asked to step down, even though I've tried to twist her arm a million times to stay on. It is a dual-handed position that we need. We deal with the PTA money, and it's very important that we have two people at all times for co-treasurer position. Is there anyone that would like to go and assist? Does anybody want to nominate someone? Are you sure nobody wants to nominate themselves?
I won't take it personally, but I'll be sad. As will the recording secretary. She'll be sad too.
Going once? Going twice?
Does that mean you're gonna make me stay?
Oh, Miss Attwood, if you put your name back in, I'd greatly appreciate it, and so will Mr. Sandor.
Is there
But
really
I know
no
that
one who
you
wants to? I feel like the.
you don't have to stay on, Miss Attwood. I mean, we still have to go through the process of the election to put your name back in, but don't feel the pressure to come back in. Mr. Sandor, please don't cry. I understand.
Is there really no one, no parent who's interested in joining the executive board? It's fun. It's a bit of time. It's a really good group of people.
All good things.
They will also, like, you can learn so much about the school from the inside. Like, that's very helpful. There's a lot of things that I learned just being on the executive board that helped me as a parent. So even from a selfish perspective, it's a really good place to serve the school.
You actually start drinking the
There's a
Kool-Aid.
candidate right
The
there.
Kool-Aid. Ooh, did I see this right?
Yes.
We have a candidate, H. Hawley, 9034.
Miss Hawley, Miss or Mr.? I'm so sorry, because I didn't catch the first name.
That's true, yes. Hawley, 9034.
It's a Miss Heather Hawley. My daughter's a freshman, so that's why I was a little hesitant because I don't know anything about the school.
We all came in with our children as freshmen. Trust me, I was voluntold as a PTA president. I didn't even ask to be one. Very long story on that one, but yes, I was voluntold to be PTA president. So at least you had the option to think about it. What positioning would you be looking into, corresponding or co-treasurer?
I mean, I could do either. I don't know what the real, I have some extra time, but not a ton, so I don't know.
Well,
which one is
positions? I mean, I would really need somebody for corresponding secretary, because she does.
If I may,
she does a lot of work, and we have a lot of correspondences, and we deal with the school a lot.
If I may take one for the team, I agree. The corresponding secretary, both positions
I can do that.
Are important, but
I can do the secretary. That's fine.
You have no idea how you just made her day. Okay, so
I'm happy to do it.
And my day too.
So is there anyone else that wants to put their name in for corresponding secretary? Going once? Going twice? Excellent. Ms. Hawley, thank you so much. Congratulations. I appreciate you stepping up. Trust me, we've all been there. Not sure if we wanted to do that or not. If you at all possible can private message me your name as well as your email address so that I can provide you some information, and I need to send it on to the school. So
Sure, I
because-
can do that.
Thank you. Because no one else had gone against you, by default, you automatically was awarded the position, I guess is the correct terminology. So congratulations. Is there anything else you want to say about yourself? I understood you said you're a 9th grade parent.
Yeah, my daughter's a freshman in the vet science program this year. She's, enjoying high school, I guess, finding it hard to make friends with COVID restrictions and not being able to hang out. So anyway, I used to work for a nonprofit, so I have a little bit of experience with boards and stuff, but
Great.
happy to help where I can.
Wonderful. Excellent. Thank you so much. So we have a corresponding secretary. Thank you. Congratulations.
Ooh.
Okay, next one. We're going back to co-treasurer. So Ms. Attwood, if you
I'm gonna make
really
another
don't have the
appeal.
time.
I'm going to make another appeal. Basically, I think you would learn so much. And I also became a co-treasurer and was thrown at the deep end when I was the parent of freshmen. And I learned a lot. It's been very good. It does take some time, but as you get more organized, the board right now is definitely a lot stronger. There are a lot more people on it. And so it's not as, I think, difficult as when I came on. We really are in a very good position. And as I said, even from a very selfish perspective, you will learn a lot about the school. You will be able to help your scholar, and you will be able to help just really understand how the school works and maybe be able to help your child. And then from a not too selfish, it's really good. The PTA is there to help all students and find them where they are. We work really well with the administration. We really try our best to represent every parent, every teacher, every child is interested in the community, and we take that responsibility very seriously. So I really would encourage, everyone to just step up if they want to. It's co-treasurer is not as much time as corresponding secretary. I feel it's probably 2 or 3 times a month, and maybe an hour or an hour and a half at the most. So it's just for it's completely doable. I don't see any name. Basically, the end result is that we really need a co-treasurer because we need a 3rd signatories on the PTA bank account. So I would feel bad stepping down if no one steps up.
Thank you, Ms. Attwood, for that final appeal. Is there anyone that wants to try? You don't need to have financial background, but you do have to be able to put your name on the banking account.
And that's just a form, really. That's pretty easy to do.
Going once. Going twice for the co-treasurer position.
All right, I guess I'm back in another 6 months.
Are you
I
sure,
promise.
Ms. Attwood?
Yeah, I'll do it. I don't want to leave you and Mr. Sandor in the lurch. I would feel really bad if you don't have someone.
Ms. Attwood, thank you very much. I
But
appreciate you staying back on. But
looking. I've met some new parents, and I will keep talking them up and making them come to the meetings and trying to see if I can get someone to come and become part of the executive board. I feel like it's a great opportunity for everyone.
all right. Because we still have to make it official, is there anyone else that wants to go up, put their name in as well for co-treasurer position? Going once. Going twice. Ms. Attwood, thank you very much. By default, you have won the election as co-treasurer. Thank you for staying on. For everyone else, I completely understand how nerve-wracking it is, especially if you feel you don't have the time. Think about it. We will be doing a full election for the entire board in April, May of 2022. So you have time to get used to us and know whether or not you want to, because the entire board will be cleared out and we'll be starting from fresh again, unless someone nominates our names for the 4th time. But we're gonna now move on. Thank you very much, Mr. Capizzo, Mr. Robinson. I know you guys still have to stay on, but I want to thank you. You guys put a lot of work into this and I appreciate the time. And now we'll move on to the treasurer report, but I'm just letting my team know I am now flipping you guys over as co-hosts so we can start letting people on. Sorry, so that we can start allowing people in and Mr. Capizzo doesn't have to do that anymore.
Wonderful.
All right,
So
go ahead.
thanks. So we mentioned last meeting, there were a number of contributions from families to the PTA. So those funds have now hit the bank account. The meeting minutes from last time said there was about 390. We actually wound up with $440 in dues and donations. We did actually have some, and we do still have a few reimbursements outstanding from fundraising that we did at the end of last year. It's always funny to look at interest income. We received a grand total of 35 cents of interest. Yay. So at this point, we now have $1,272.59. Again, there are some outstanding reimbursements, but we are in a very good financial position at this point and I know we have a number of initiatives that we're looking at sponsoring as well. So we do thank all the parents, families, and staff, and everyone in the Lincoln community who have previously donated. I think at some point we'll put the Chatter Up link in the chat as well. But as of this point, like I said, we did receive a number of decent amount of funds, and we have a number of things that we're planning for that we're going to look to fund, all related to students and their families. I'm not sure, Ms. Attwood, if I've forgotten anything.
Mr. Molina has a question about the funds. Mr. Molina?
Yes, a family member was recently vaccinated and they received an incentive to get vaccinated, but they also said that they match. So that money would go to the PTA. So I wanted to know how on your end you see that, basically.
Yes. Yeah. So first of all, thank you to whoever that parent is, and to all the parents who took part in the vaccination. At this point, the city, my understanding is that the city has actually extended that program a little bit further. We should see some funds within the next week or so. My understanding is that the city has not released those funds just yet. Schools that have much larger number of vaccinations, I think, have already seen some activity in their bank account, but there's a certain threshold over which they'll give you money earlier. I have not seen those funds put in our account yet, and that's probably because we've had less students actually take advantage of that program. But we are very much looking forward to seeing a few $100 or $100 at least from any student that has gotten their first vaccination. And I do note that the second and possibly third booster shots are not eligible for that $100. It's only the first vaccination shot, and it's only those that are run at by city-run sites. So no, if you go to Walgreens or Duane Reade, you can tell them that Lincoln High School PTA sent you, and they're going to look at you kind of funny. And they'll still give you the vaccine anyway. So yes, so the short answer to the long question is yes. And my understanding is that those eligibility is still available. So if you have not had your first shot, or your children have not had their first shot, and they go to a city-run site, that yes, please let them know that Lincoln High School PTA sent you, and we thank you in advance. So, yep.
Hi, thank you so much. I did receive word this morning that, or yesterday, I believe, that we're looking at an estimated cost of $300 so far coming in for those who did get vaccinated. And I believe it will come in after it's all over. So like 2 to 3 weeks after the last day that they are doing the pop-ups, that the funds will be released.
Yeah, they did. The guidelines were pretty clear that you had to cross a certain threshold of vaccinations and you'd get funds earlier. Otherwise, you basically get one lump sum at the end, which is, I think, sometime in November. They have extended it a bit. So yeah, any additional vaccinations, please make sure to mention our name.
And with those funds that we do have, we're looking at, am I correct, partaking in the attendance extravaganza, as well as we'll be providing, we're doing a match of food donations in the next week or two with the school. I believe Mr. Robinson will tell us where we're at. So far, I think we were at, well, I'll let Mr. Robinson tell us where we're at because I didn't see the latest info. But we're looking at matching up a pretty good amount, and hopefully he'll have that details. Mr. Robinson?
Absolutely. Yes. We just keep moving along with our registration. Right now we're up to 60 pounds of food total. So that's split half and half between what the PTA is matching and what Lincoln is putting forward. And we're about halfway to another 10 pounds in each category. So we just keep moving forward with that, which is really great. And we're also going to be doing some in-house holiday baskets. So we're thinking about maybe using some of that donations for the in-house holiday baskets. So in years past, the PTA has partnered with the school to provide some of the students who are recognized as maybe would benefit from a holiday basket of food, and we deliver a holiday basket to the family, and it's a really nice thing to do, and the families are really grateful for us. And so along with the donations we've made to City Harvest, that's another great thing that those donations can go to.
Thank you, Mr. Sandor. Next slide. I believe there's some information on that. Oh, no, there isn't.
I think it's a little bit further on where there's more information about that if you want to skip.
Oh,
forward.
yes. Yes,
Okay.
it is.
We'll discuss that in a moment then, but thank you for bringing that to my attention. Thank you, Mr. Robinson, for that clarity. Secretarial report?
There's really not much to report. We've been trying to, get information out to everybody about the election and the fundraising. We've been trying to send a couple of rounds of emails, and I just would encourage everybody to, also follow us on Facebook. We try to put information out, point families to information that's on the school website, and try to just, like with the most recent teacher conferences, we're trying to just get that information and details out so that to as wide an audience as we can to amplify the school's message. So check us out on Facebook. That's really all that's going on in the secretarial world at the moment.
And you're doing a phenomenal job at that. Thank you very much. Same thing for PTA president. I just want to thank everyone, my entire team, the school doing a great job. We're heading on to the holidays, so things are going to get a little rough. Reminders of what's been going on the past 2 years. So just as the school says, everyone has a somebody. So make sure that your students are reaching out to one another, reaching out to a staff member. Parents, reach out to the PTA. I get calls and texts all throughout the day, even in the middle of the night, people messaging me saying that they need some assistance, and right away I get with Mr. Robinson, let him know what's going on, that you got some students out there. Of course, I validate with the parent that they are aware that I'm going to let Mr. Robinson know what's going on, and just know you're not alone. So just hang in there. We're doing this together. And of course, again, our fundraising will end on the 27th of November. We will be doing another fundraising in the spring.
Can we actually, that's like one of the next slides.
Perfect, go ahead.
So we've got the committee reports.
Go ahead.
Want to talk about the fundraising right here?
Yep. So this, the lovely fundraisings, the only downfall, and it's a major downfall, is the shipping. The shipping is a killer, and I apologize for that. But again, like I said, it ended up, when comparing to at the time that we put this together, whether or not we should have the kids go out there and sell this to strangers, I felt that this was the better option, or we felt that this was the better option. And oh my gosh, the chocolates are so good. I have to hide them for myself sometimes.
Yeah, the secretary also feels that the chocolates are quite good. The co-treasurer completely agrees as well. They're really delicious.
They're well worth it. Get them as gifts. They last for a couple of weeks. Buy them as gifts, and there you go. You can send them. If you get them in a major bulk, I believe the shipping is zero. As of last week, I believe shipping was free if it was over $100. So I bought a bunch of chocolates for the security team at Abraham Lincoln, and they loved it.
And of course, a percentage of all the sales go back to our PTA. So the
40%.
more chocolate you eat.
Which, if you go back one slide.
Yes, I will. Yeah.
We're really trying to get enough money for this attendance extravaganza. And Mr. Sandor, Mr. Jones, you guys have been attending these meetings, and we're looking at getting a committee together. So please go right ahead.
Next slide.
No, for you to discuss the attendance.
Oh, yes.
Update.
I mean, attendance extravaganza. I don't mean to take Mr. Robinson's, steal the thunder, but I'm looking forward to learning more, to actually seeing the attendance extravaganza. It actually sounds a lot of fun to reward students for attendance. And just the description about about prizes and incentives and other things like that. It sounds frankly like something that the PTA, like a natural fit. We want to make sure that students show up to school, and when they show up to school, they're learning, and when they're learning, everyone's better off. And so to incentivize students to come to class is always a wonderful thing.
And I believe leading up to that, Mr. Robinson, we have a couple of attendance days.
Yes.
One for the seniors. We have a possible clapping day coming up for all people that have a good attendance. Then I think there's a red flag day that's mandatory attendance. If you could discuss those three, please.
Yeah, the red flag days are days that are traditionally low attendance that we highlight students to come in on those days. We really shoot for 90% attendance for all students. That's also state accountability measure is 90%. Students from our senior class last year who had 90% attendance had 100% graduation rate. So it really is a good number. And what we try to do on the red flag attendance days is, let's say like last Friday was parent teacher conferences. Before we ran the red flag attendance days, a typical special bell on a parent teacher conference on a Friday especially would probably maybe bring us in attendance of about 56%. And with the red flag attendance days, we give a little incentive by giving the students, making it themed, or giving the student a red ticket to go to save 10 tickets. They go on a field trip, or giving out a mask or hand sanitizer or some kind of little incentive. And more broadly, we just try to create a culture that, maybe this is a day that you're seeing as a day you can take off, but it's not. It's an important day. It's a red flag attendance day. And maybe when we're having the storm of the century, you want to stay home, but not on a red flag attendance day. Like, that's a day you should come in. And we've seen upwards of 20% increase in attendance on those days. So something to think about with the PTA's partnership with the tennis. If I can just talk a little bit about the tennis extravaganza. I did share one specific event that happens during the game show is like, let's make a deal. So this is kind of what I was trying to sell to the PTA of really partnering with us on this specific event. So if you can imagine 200 students coming in, getting a numbered ticket, and then taking a seat in the auditorium and participating in some games by that ticket number. And so they get called up with a ticket, and up in the front of the auditorium, the MC is asking the student, okay, do you want this big, huge box or do you want this little envelope? And then the student has to decide if he wants the big box or the little envelope. And then the crowd gets into it saying, big box, big box, big box. And the student chooses the big box. And then the MC throws another wrench in and says, okay, you want the big box? What if I give you this $5 Dunkin' Donut gift card? The student says, no way, I want the big box. How about 2 $5 Dunkin' Donut gift cards? How about 3? And just a bunch of games like that just kind of get the audience really worked up, and it's a lot of fun for the students.
Sounds pretty awesome.
And it'd definitely be a way for you all to get a little creative and have a little fun with the students too.
Definitely sounds like a lot of fun. Thank you so much. I believe there's before I go on, before I ask you for more questions, Mr. Robinson, Mr. Sanders, is there anything else that you would like to discuss? Mr. Sander?
No, I didn't know that. That's, I mean, obviously parents are always welcome. We value parents, even if, we've mentioned a few minutes ago, even if you have a little bit of time to volunteer, or once in a while, we're happy to have people volunteer their time, their ideas, their abilities. A few dollars, of course, would be nice as well. But we're grateful for all the assistance we can get from parents and Lincoln and the members of the Lincoln community. So if you're a parent, want to volunteer, just send us an email to the PTA mailbox.
Even just sending us little messages of ideas, that too is also volunteering.
Absolutely.
So we appreciate that time. Mr. Robinson, and I think I messed up on providing a slide for you, and I apologize. There's some great information that you and I had discussed for the families, unless you have Mr. Capizzo discussing it during teachers. You have any upcoming events, or are you gonna have Mr. Capizzo discuss that during teacher corner?
I'm trying to remember what events it is. This is such a great attendance committee slide.
Yes, that's what thank you, Miss Sander. This is awesome. Thank you so much. Okay, I'm gonna hold you to the side for a moment, Mr. Robinson, but please, if anybody wants to partake in helping us putting this together, the attendance extravaganza, the more the merrier. If you know anything about donations that people would like to go and provide that will help with the attendance extravaganza, let us know. The email address is Abraham Lincoln High School PTA@gmail.com. All right, next slide. Thank you.
All right, we talked about this slide already.
Yep.
Here we are.
Title I, I do not see our chair at the moment, but everyone's name. Yes, Miss Phil, thank you. Miss Filbert, are you on? If not, Miss Jones, can you speak about Title I?
Good evening, everyone. Me and the chairperson, we in constant communications, coming up with ideas on how to get more parents involved, how to like offer maybe a workshop or something. But by next month, we will have everything together to present and talk about more.
I swear you're wrong. I'm Skylar Storm. I would never do.
Wonderful. Thank you very much. Does anybody have any questions about Title I? Okay, moving on. There was a Family Healing Ambassador presentation back in October. It was a phenomenal program. I believe, unfortunately, the person who was our Family Healing Ambassador is no longer with the school, but the school is going to try to continue with the Family Healing Ambassador tradition. My only question that probably go to Mr. Robinson is, there was a promise to send the slides or the slides for the presentation for information about the presentation. Has that been released to the public yet?
It hasn't been released yet. I'm gonna try to get that presentation.
Thank you. This way we can provide it to the families, or at least some. I know it was not recorded, unfortunately, because of the information that was shared to allow for a safe space, but there's a lot of important information that was on that slide. So I would greatly appreciate it if we're allowed to share it with the families.
Yeah, definitely.
Thank you. Next slide. My favorite slide of all. They're all my favorite slides, but my favorite slide is really this one, because we get to hear from the teachers. And I think it's very important because the PTAs are usually one-sided, and it's always the parents complaining. And I really want to hear about the teachers complain about why our students drive them nuts and what we can do to help them. Because I mean, honestly, it's a group that gets our kids to where we are, and they spend a lot more time with these teachers than they do with us. So with that being said, I don't know if Mr. Molina wants to start or Mr. Capizzo wants to start, because we've really been running Mr. Capizzo hard this past 2 hours. So please go right ahead, enjoy the teacher's corner.
I think I can bring up an idea. I know parent-teacher conferences just passed, but that's a conversation that should be ongoing and not set to specific dates. So I would really encourage parents to start that dialogue and keep it going, not just during parent-teacher conferences. I know you exchange information on these days, but if you want to know how your kid's doing in the class, ask. Please feel free. I answer all emails, phone calls. I have my information all over the website. Reach out to me. If you want to know how your student is doing in my class, just ask. So again, don't feel, that our conversation has to be relegated to a specific set of days. Reach out whenever you want to. That's how I feel.
I'll second that by what Mr. Molina said. Absolutely agree. Especially since now there's many different platforms that parents can get in contact with us. I don't know how Ms. Molina was, but I mean, I had, in the span of 2 days, I had a total of like 27 parents who reached out to me. A lot of different parents. That was very successful. But agreed, there's so many different ways to get in contact that it doesn't have to be just designated for just those 2 days. And then I guess I can go over a couple of things going on, Miss Scott, if you want, just to highlight a couple of things. So first off,
especially Pajama Day, I hear is happening next week.
Yes.
If there could be some details on that. So this way the parents aren't getting upset that our kids are rolling out of bed in the exact same outfits that they're going to school in, or vice versa.
So that's part of the red flag attendance initiative, is to give something for the kids to look forward to in school. So kids are welcome to wear their school appropriate pajamas to school, and they'll get photographed. It's a really nice thing, because some kids have really interesting jammies. So yeah, again, part of getting the kids to come into school on a day where attendance is normally lower.
Right. Just a reminder to parents that the second marking period is going to be ending on December 3rd. December 3rd is the end of the second marking period. Grades will be updated, will be up on PupilPath by the following week, which will be December 10th. So just want to give everyone a heads up about that. Seniors, a lot of seniors are starting to reach out to their teachers to do recommendation letters. So please just make sure that I'm just going to let this parent in. Please make sure that, you know, you remind your kids about colleges and applications, recommendation letters, because this is now the opportune time for that. And to segue that, for juniors, right now is a good time to start reaching out to your guidance counselor about possible ideas of colleges that are coming in. There's going to be, we have colleges that are usually visiting on campus or doing virtual tours, to reach out to the college center to talk to them about those colleges that are going on. We have a lot. I know that there's a list up. I have to find it somewhere. And also just to get that ball rolling, because before you know it, it's already January. You'll be taking your regents then, and like the English regents for juniors, and it'll be a good time to start the ball rolling with colleges and stuff. Ms. Scott, I see your hand raised because you really want to ask me that question.
Well, yeah, I actually have quite a few. When is the English Regents for the juniors? When can you share that link for when all the colleges or virtual are going to be on campus? And for December 3rd, I know we've been in conversations for a while. I know that teachers don't want to wait until December 3rd to get all the late homeworks sent to them. Have you guys come up with a better date a couple of days prior to kind of encourage the students and families to push their children to get that work in earlier? Though it should be done when it's due, I get it, but you have some that take it all the way to that last date.
Yeah, so there's been a rumbling through the students that I heard today that the cutoff is November 30th. I've been hearing this date float around from a couple of my kids today because they actually said to me, Mr. Capizzo, you're wrong. It's not December 3rd, it's January 30th, November 30th. I don't know why that date started rolling around by that, but I would say that is probably like a good little like calling point by them, because by December 3rd, we're getting all the wrap-ups together. So I would say by like, you know, that last week, the 30th is fine. As far as that picture, Miss Scott, that I know, that picture, Miss Scott, has been posted outside of the elevator on the first floor. So what I'll do specifically for you tomorrow is take a picture of that poster. And
it's not just for me. It's
I
for the
know,
families.
but then you can give it to everyone else. So then
because the families aren't allowed to get into the school.
Got it. I'm just saying where I see this picture. So you reminded me of college. So I'm just saying, okay. For the January Regents, just giving you a heads up, the English Regents is January 25th at 8:30. Okay. And then the freshman Regents will be in June. I have to see if they announce the date. They probably have the dates, but yeah, that's in June for any freshmen. Okay. No, Miss Scott, no waivers. Everyone takes it. Okay, just want to give you a heads up also with that. Good question. Yeah, and then what else can I say? What else can I say? Oh yeah, just to give a quick little announcement about we're doing a lot of the Naviance work right now. I don't know if some of the students right now, what we're doing right now is we're reaching out to our students in every grade to get logged into Naviance to start doing a focus around getting ready for college and career readiness. So in the 9th grade right now, we're meeting with kids individually where we start focusing on SMART goals for kids to get their process rolling. For 10th grade, we are meeting with them to start, I know in 11th grade, they're getting their resumes, I believe, going, but I forget what's 10th grade's process. I think that goes towards like the financial aid stuff, I believe. But that's like the breakdown, what's going on with Naviance. So we're hitting early so then we can get the ground running with all of our kids. And a big task with 9th grade, because we have over 700 kids we have to reach out to about this. So there's a lot of work on the 9th grade front right now with that. And then I know Mr. Molina, I believe there is a trip tomorrow coming up for seniors and juniors, I believe. So if you want to speak about that.
Yeah, it's about 130 kids and chaperones will be attending a bowling trip in Times Square. So I'm going to actually put the link for senior activities page on our website. That gives you pretty basic information that you'll need. All my contact information is there as well. I do a lot of advertising on Instagram, Teams, and then stuff will go on the website every so often. So if you need to know anything about senior activities, I prefer to have a conversation with people because I'd like to give them a catered experience. But yeah, anything having to do with senior activities goes through me. We have a trip in the fall, which would be the bowling trip. And then I'm trying to plan something for the spring, and we're trying to add additional trips as well.
And then I know I'm going to keep you on for one more second, Mr. Molina. Any word on senior dues?
Senior dues, all that information is posted on the website. If you want, I could just cut and paste from the site. There's a price increase on December 1st that goes up to $180. If there's any student that claiming financial hardship, they would have to fill out a form and they submit that to Miss Ebed. We review it, and then the student will get reduced dues or waived dues completely, depending on a couple of things like the lunch form and written statements from the students and parents.
Okay, very good. All right. Any other questions from parents, I guess?
Yes, he forgot to mention about Instagram.
Oh, the Instagram.
It's already posted, but you may want to just brief it. Is it you and the students that work that page?
I'll take submissions from students, but a lot of the content's from me. And I haven't been posting as often as I was like, I'm really overwhelmed. I wear a lot of hats, so I'm a little behind on my posting.
Okay, and then there's also YouTube?
Lincoln Media.
Media?
If you search up Lincoln Media on YouTube, that's Mr. Andrus's Lincoln Media page. And I'm sure all the sports activities that are filmed are basically posted there. Anything that the students create will be posted there as well.
Yeah, he's been posting a lot of like the news about what's going on at Lincoln. Next month, we're going to be starting up basketball, so we'll be live streaming the games. So this will be really exciting. The media department has really stepped up in the last, I'd say, year now. We're starting to get more subscribers. People really are participating with it and watching it. So, keep on pushing it. That would be great.
Ms. Brown?
Yes, hi, Mr. Molina, I'm sorry, I said, so it was good to meet you at the football homecoming event. I was like shouting you out and trying to take a picture, couldn't focus. But, I was like, oh my God, it's you. Okay, smile, so I didn't know. But in regards to graduation, the dues, so when we go to the website, the link to pay the dues, when I know you know what I mean, but each little section, like with the items, am I pressing on it to go shirt size, medium, or pant, or I just pay and then you guys figure that out later?
I actually have a survey for students to fill out. I get their information that way, but if you wanted to be thorough and make sure that I get the sizes correct, you can actually write those sizes in the notes. So they need to submit a size for a t-shirt, a sweatsuit, top and bottom, and then I need their height in feet and inches for the cap and gown.
Funny, my son heard me asking the question and he hears your response and he's like, I told you. But thank you so much. I just wanted to make sure I did it correctly, but thank you.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Ms. Brown, in your defense, there's some of our children don't pass on that information to us. So he may have told you, but there's other students that didn't tell their parents. So thank you for asking that question.
Of course.
Yeah, I've been promoting this bowling trip repeatedly on Teams. Like that's where they want the kids to go, basically. And I've been doing a little bit of Instagram too. Some kids had to pick up their permission slips the other day, and they come up to me and I say, "Did you fill out the RSVP?" And they're like, "What RSVP?" They had no idea. I'm like, I'm posting constantly tagging them in it. So I'm really, yeah, I'm trying my hardest to get the information out there, but then there'll always be the outliers who, never check Teams. So I encourage the kids to go on Teams. I'm constantly tagging them and stuff, but if they're not on it, they're not going to see it.
And the bowling trip is really for seniors, but some juniors, depending on their academics, was allowed.
Yeah, they hand selected juniors, but a majority of it is seniors. There's about 90 seniors. So they wanted to, since we had to basically rent out the venue, they wanted to squeeze in 2 grade levels instead of, paying a much higher cost doing 4 individual trips. So yeah, I think the criteria was grading, grades, attendance, things like that.
Excellent. Thank you. Mr. Capizzo, any other information?
Let me check one more thing to let you know.
Oh, and actually, I do have one question. Usual thing is that if a child is failing, actually, is there any way we can get details on what the master key is for the grades of passing? I know in PupilPath doesn't match up with what the actual grades are. So for instance, if a child is a 1 on PupilPath, doesn't necessarily mean they're failing. So can we reiterate that information so that, like myself, I'm not flipping out, not being told that my son is failing and find out later he wasn't. That's why the teachers weren't responding.
Yeah, so first off, okay, so we do mastery-based grading. So mastery-based grading is scored on a 1 to 4 scale. 1 means not yet, meaning they're not mastering the content yet. 2 means that they are approaching, which means they got some idea of what is going on. 3 means you will have mastery, which means you are understanding the topic well. And 4 means you're exceeding and you're going above and beyond what the call is at hand. And we've been using this platform now, I'm gonna say we did it in 9th grade for the last 4 years. And then school-wide, I think this is our 3rd year doing it overall. And each department has a breakdown of how they do the mastery skills. Math, we do it based on we use our mathematical practices for that. So that's how we break stuff down with the grades themselves. One of the big things with it that I know students students and teachers get confused about is, why does the grade show a score from 1 to 4, and on the report card it shows a grade out of 100? Unfortunately, we cannot give a student a grade from 1 to 4 on a transcript. DOE does not have that. Okay, so we have to do conversion. Our conversions are, it took a while for conversions to be done, but I'll give you an easy breakdown of it so then everyone knows. A 3 is an 85. Okay, it's the easiest way I could describe it. A 2 is a 70. And then a 1.75 is considered to be a 65. And then everything under that falls to 60. So everything under 1.75 is where you get under the 65. Between a 2 and a 3 is between a 70 and an 85. Okay, usually like a 2.75 is like an 80. And then 3.5 and above is 90 and above. And I think that's how, if I can think in my head how it usually breaks down, that's how it usually breaks down. And yeah, that's why we unfortunately can't, if a kid shows a grade that's like a 3, I always tell them flat out a 3 is an 85 because that means that they have mastery, and that's good. And then they go to the next step to go above and beyond. So anything higher than a 3 is great. Okay, and 2 is fine. It's a 70, but it's not, you know, mastery. Because mastery, you need at least a 3. And this is like, you know, everyone worked together on it to really hammer down what the grades are broken down as. Any questions, Ms. Scott?
I do have another one, but I'm gonna wait to see. Somebody did say thank you. I'm gonna wait to see if someone else has a similar question. I saw Ms. Attwood had her hand up.
Yes, Ms. Attwood, come on in.
Yes, I was wondering if a student is struggling with a subject matter, is there, like, what is a parent to do? Like, you know, I don't, you know, people don't necessarily see what kids are doing on Teams. Like, the only thing that parents see is what shows up on PupilPath.
Yeah.
So, like, you talk to the teacher, you talk to the guidance counselor, but like, if they're still struggling, what do you do then?
Okay, so, all right. So I guess it goes like this. There's a couple breakdowns. First breakdown is there's a parent account for PupilPath. So they can actually get their own account where they can check the grades of their students. That's number one. Number two, they can email directly to the teachers through PupilPath or email directly through the directory in the ALHS website. Okay, they can email them through that way. I've gotten a lot of emails from my parents that way this year, which has been nice. Also, speaking to the guidance counselor is one. We just started up an initiative that Ms. Scott had mentioned that we're doing after-school tutoring for students with IEPs. That has been starting up this week, and we've been getting kids to show up, which has definitely been helpful on that front. Also, every teacher, I know in the math department this is true. I can't speak on other departments, but there are times in the day where if a student is available, maybe for lunch, or if they don't have a class, they can go to tutoring. All you have to do is get in touch with the department AP, and you can ask them about tutoring opportunities in the actual from teachers. Sometimes I actually have a period where I have kids that come see me to ask for any help with math. So that is always an option that we do offer in the middle of our day itself. It's definitely been trickier this year, just because everyone's schedules are like all over the place, but there is opportunities for kids to get the necessary help that they need. Plus the teacher always mentions, to reach out to them through Teams. We can always help them through Teams as well. I highly recommend that. That should be your first thing. Reach out to the teacher, especially the student. Like it lets us know that you need help and we're there to help out.
Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Capizzo. I see there's another question.
Yes. Hey, hi, Ms. Gaskins.
Hi, hello everyone. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
I mean, good evening.
Yeah, I know. I said good morning as well. Don't worry.
Can y'all see me? I took the video off.
Yes.
Okay. I was just wondering if you have study groups, because my daughter's interested in a lot of clubs and stuff, and she's willing to stay after school and go to her clubs. But then I was wondering, when you just mentioned tutoring and you said IEPs, but I was wondering about study groups for kids who might want to just kind of do homework or something like that. Is that available?
So interesting thought that you are, this is the first time in a while that I've heard of study groups. No, you're bringing up something interesting that I think can definitely be probably a conversation if Mr. Robinson is here. It's maybe something we might be able to do if we have the opportunity to possibly embed that somehow. That would be a really cool idea. I know that usually what we do, or what I run for the math department, is that on Saturdays I do the math, the Regents tutoring to get ready for the Regents for the algebra exam in June. We also do that for a lot of the other Regents as well. Usually with math, we start in like February. So I know we do that.
When does that start?
So that usually that starts, if I can remember in my head, it's like 10 or 12 weeks before the Regents. So in my expectation, when we like go back and look at it, it's usually like before February break or right after February break, we hit the ground running with that. So right around that time is when we do it.
Okay.
So
what we would have to sign up. We would have to if we want.
Right.
Okay,
so what we usually do with that is that we have them sign up for it. They get an incentive if they join. We usually open it up to like, 9th graders and 10th graders who have to take the Regents. And for algebra, if you come to all the sessions, you get a free graphing calculator by the end of it. So a nice little like incentive for showing up. And it's really just a strictly Regents-based course where we focus on all the topics to get ready for the algebra Regents itself. And then we also do it for global history. We do it for the English Regents. We do it for living environment. We do it for like those core subjects in each of those platforms, and US history. And when we do it, but like those other courses, they start later. Like they usually start around March. Okay. And that's when we usually do that. So when I spoke to my AP, she definitely wanted to do the math again. So I'm assuming that if it could start with math, it's probably going to start with all the subjects after January, that sort of stuff.
All right. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Sandra has a question.
Yeah.
Mr. Capizzo, did this happen last year?
No. So last year we didn't do it. We didn't do it last year because, well, one, the Regents wasn't offered last year, but this is what life was like before COVID. So this is what we used to always do. And now since we're like back into the swing of things and stuff, we're gonna get back into that rhythm again. So
can I just ask, I know you guys send a lot of things out on Teams but for something like that, can we make sure that the parents get notified? Because I mean, it's a rare student who's going to volunteer to come in on a Saturday for tutoring.
Right. Yeah, and that it's interesting because it's interesting because when we do run it, we have a lot of students that either they start off strong and slowly fade off, or we have some students who don't start off strong, and then by the end, when it's like, oh, it's May, they start randomly coming in out of nowhere. So yes, I agree that it's like, it's definitely has its like ups and downs, but I think, I've been the one that does it, and anytime that I've done it, the kids that show up consistently and are there all the time, they, you see the value when they finally take the test and they get it, they're ready for it by now. So unfortunately, Miss Allen, they do geometry. Okay, that's like near into like April and May. I haven't seen it done for Algebra 2, unfortunately. But again, that could change if there is a big push with Algebra 2, if there's a lot of kids, especially since a lot of our kids are like, might be in Algebra 2 right now. There might be a chance where we could do tutoring for Algebra 2 for like a Saturday program. But again, I don't know. This would be a conversation with my AP.
Well, I've definitely been drinking the Abraham Lincoln Kool-Aid because I rave about you guys and the school all the time, especially the teachers. I can't tell you, after comparing with all the other schools over this past year, I have to say that Abraham Lincoln took it above and beyond. And I always continue to rave about that. So thank you Thank you, Mr. Molina and Mr. Capizzo, for taking the time. Teacher Corner, we started this last year, and we found that it's great communication both ways. So thank you for taking the time. Yes, Ms. Sandor. Oh, clapping. I thought you were raising your hands.
Just clapping.
I'm delirious. We're gonna start pushing this through a little bit. It's 7:30, and I always try my very best to promise to keep it at 2 hours. So next slide. Mr. Capizzo, Mr. Molina, you have anything else? Okay, I don't see any questions, but Ms. Brown and Ms. Attwood, thank you, Ms. Attwood, will be viewing the chat and letting us know if there's anything that pops up. Moving on. Oh, just so you know, for Facebook, our website is the name that you'd be looking for is the Parents of Abraham Lincoln High School -PTA. Moving on. School Partnership Initiatives Update. This is the slide that we were looking at, and hopefully Mr. Robinson, I think is still on. Yes. Mr. Robinson, I believe this may be a week old, but could you speak on it? This is the, if I'm correct, this is what we're pushing on for the initiative for the food drive.
Yeah, that's correct.
Okay, go right ahead, please.
In the latest newsletter I sent out to families, it has the updated numbers on there. It's on our website. But we're over the, for every 50 new registrants for each of these three systems, New York City Schools account, PupilPath, and Operoo. We've said we're going to donate 10 pounds of food to our food drive, and the PTA is going to match that. So this is where we were, I believe, last week, and this week we've jumped those numbers up past the 50 mark for all three categories. So that's great. And even to the point where, let me see here, I have it here. Even to the point where we're getting close to 100 in some of these. So for New York City Schools account, we have a total of 82 new registrants now. For PupilPath, it's 83, and for Operoo, it's 41. So I guess we're just almost there on Operoo, but I suspect we'll get there pretty soon. We didn't quite hit that, so I apologize about that. I thought we did hit it, but we just missed it. We just need 9 more.
Now, though the food drive is usually done and distributed right before Thanksgiving, the food drive that we have with that particular group is actually year round. So we've decided to take this to mid-December. Can someone give me the date? I don't have it in front of me. I believe it was the Friday, the second Friday of December, I think we took it to. Somebody will get me that date in a moment.
It's either December 10th or December
10th. Okay.
I think it was the 10th, right?
That sounds about right.
Ms. Sandor will double check.
That's what I remember it as too.
Okay. So December 10th is when we're actually going to close up and start purchasing the food for this donation. And then your team would then drop it off to which company again? Would we be?
It's City Harvest, but we're also looking to divert some of that to our own food baskets for families right here at Lincoln.
Okay, excellent.
How many food baskets are you planning to do this year?
We usually have between 6 and 10. We're gonna see guidance counselors and social workers. We rely on them in making the referrals. So we just started the referral process, and we'll see how many come in.
And when would you need the stuff? Because in previous years the PTA participated and got like similar amounts that we can put in every basket. But we would need to know. I mean, if we could have, I guess, a week's notice, that would be great.
Yeah, for sure. So the 10th, December 10th. So it would be before winter recess, the holiday baskets that go out. before winter recess. So I guess when we get to December 10th, we'll have a good idea so that we can partner on exactly what would be the best thing to put in the baskets and what we might need help on, and what your ideas are as far as what to put in the baskets.
Awesome. Thank you. And does anybody have any questions, concerns, uncomfortable about this food drive that we're comparing to? Please let us know.
I hope everybody here has a New York City Schools account and PupilPath and Operoo. This should be preaching to the choir, hopefully.
And we'll continue to push that information out to through Facebook as well. And perhaps now that we have a corresponding secretary, she'll assist Ms. Sandor on pushing out more emails for this information. Okay, moving on. Okay, additional websites. You can do a screenshot of this. This will also be posted on Facebook and is on the Abraham Lincoln High School website. I'll give everybody, oh, go back one, please. Sorry, just give everybody a moment to read it. All right, moving on. I know this is a little small. This also is on the school website under news and announcements section. I don't think there's been any changes, but if you have any questions, concerns that for some reason you're not able to get with the teachers or you have personal things going on, please get with your assistant principals in those areas, and most importantly, the guidance counselors. I have to say, during COVID, the guidance counselors was our family's best friends. Because if we weren't able to get hold of the teachers for whatever reason, the guidance counselors did a phenomenal job of gathering the information and reaching out to those teachers to ensure that there was a partnership with the families. Also, who's posting this? Ms. Sandor is posting additional information in the chat. If you are able to view chat, please do so. I think she's also copy pasting what's already in the information. Here's some important official DOE dates. We're now at, I believe, November 18th. So here's some information. Can somebody go back? Not done. Thank you. A lot of the information you have in November, of course, the Thanksgiving recess. We have winter recess in December. And most importantly, Regents Week is January 25th to the 28th. That's just for DOE information in general. If you go to the next slide, this right here is the Abraham Lincoln High School school calendar, which involves not just the DOE information, but also what's going on in the school. Sorry. Not much more going on except for there being Thanksgiving recess next week, Hanukkah at the end of the month. And then, of course, most importantly, December 3rd is when the grades go in, but November 30th, you really want to push your students to go and complete whatever work that they haven't completed, they need to do, and start getting it into their teachers ASAP. All right.
I have a question. Hanukkah is not, the schools aren't closed for Hanukkah, right? So Mondays, the schools are on.
I didn't see anything about the schools being closed. Go back one more. DOE only has them being closed the 25th and 26th of November. And then again, the next time off, thank you, is December 24th to the 31st. Those are the only two dates the students are off in November and December.
I'm sorry, Ms. Scott, could I just jump in for a second to share two things? One being that we did, well, my computer's getting low. We did we did update our marking period end dates, like Mr. Capizzo said. The new end of marking period 2 is October 30th. That's in the newsletter. It's also
not
on,
October 30th.
I mean, November 30th.
Oh, his computer just updated. So if I'm hearing him correctly, the update is November 30th is the end of the marking period? Or is that to get the information in?
I'm gonna say based on what Robinson just said is that it is November 30th.
Is the final date?
I guess it is.
Okay. I'm sure he's gonna try to chime back in. Next, next slide. We're gonna get clarity on that in a moment. Again, this is just a reiteration of what I just stated of the next time the students are off. On the calendar, we have, there he is.
I got him. I just added him back.
Thank you. Just give him a moment. Thank you, Mr. Capizzo.
You're welcome. Mr. Robinson, are you there?
There he goes.
Okay.
I'm back.
All
Okay.
right, there we go. Go right
So go ahead,
ahead.
Mr. Robinson, you were talking about a change with the market period 2?
Yes, marking period 2 and 3 end dates did change. I sent that out. That was just a change that was sent out to families today. What ended up happening is we ended up just taking a few days off of marking period 2 and marking period 3 so that we can have an extended marking period 4 that will really allow us to focus on interventions and enrichment, kind of like this is a policy that was encouraged by updates to the New York City grading policy. And as far as the NXs, we don't give NXs anymore. What we ended up doing was extending marking period 4 to really focus on students who were struggling and give enrichment opportunities for students who are doing well. And it really increased also the notifications to parents. So parents were getting marking period 3 and then marking period 3 and then marking period 4 later on, which is the way we used to do it, is marking period 3 and then you'd get marking period 4 right away. So now there's what would be about a 9-day window between the end of marking period 3 and marking period 4. And what we saw is it did have a impact on reaching some of our students that were hard to reach. The other thing I wanted to add is that I did update the parent sections on the Abraham Lincoln High School website. So if you click on parents, you click on parent resources, that great resource sheet there, you see it's updated. It's there, all the links to get your PupilPath access, to get your New York City Schools account. Those links are there. So it's just a little bit friendlier.
Thank you so much. I
Mr.
appreciate
Robbins,
that.
I'm sorry, Mr. Robinson, you said parent resources on that link, for that link?
Yeah, you should go to our webpage and up at the top it says parents, and then the first one down is parent resources.
All right, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you very much. Don't change the slide yet. Report cards. Report card distribution. You don't really mean distribution. They don't give out the report cards anymore. Is that correct?
Right. It's it's a digital release, so the distribution is digital.
Okay. And then our next PTA meeting will be on the 16th of December. Anything else to add, Mr. Robinson, Mr. Capizzo, and Mr. Molina, to those dates? Oh, and most importantly, bowling tomorrow and the pajama day next week.
So December 3rd is also going to be a trip for our 10th graders, and December 10th is going to be a trip for our 9th graders. So every grade level is going to have a bowling trip. So we're excited.
And when you
that.
say by grade, it's not the entire grade. It's based on academics and teacher recommendation.
Yes, exactly. Thank you. It's just the same kind of idea as what the seniors and juniors are getting now. So students get invited based on attendance and academics, being high achievers, as well as showing improvement in those areas. So it's probably going to be a similar amount of students from each grade going on those days, around 130 to 150 students.
Oh, Ms. Brown. And then Ms. Gaskins.
I just wanted to add for the parents as well as the teachers, we know we'd like to have giveaways at our PTA meeting. So for December, we'll be contemplating for that PTA meeting on the 16th, we'll be contemplating having a giveaway. So please attend. Teachers tell teachers, parents tell parents. Pretty awesome stuff. I pick out great stuff, and as a team, we pick out great stuff. So please attend and be there so you can win. Excuse me, so you can be, should I say win or it's just a giveaway?
Yeah, they do win it. Yeah, it's a right.
Yeah, okay. I want to say it the
There's
right
no
way.
money involved. We're not asking for any money in. It's a total donation from the PTA to the families.
Right.
And the teachers also get a basket or a gift card as well. So yes. And unfortunately, we 2 families, I believe, never came and got their baskets from the summer. So
but we
what
have an
happens
idea.
is we call out they'll go through the process of letting people know who won during the meeting. And then that person is then notified via email, and we let everyone know that they won, and they'll have approximately 2 to 3 weeks to come down to the school. They make coordination with what used to be the parent coordinator. It would be Mr. Robinson to come down and pick up the basket, or to have your child pick up the basket. So more details to follow on that. Thank you, Ms. Brown. Ms. Gaskins?
Yeah, I'm a little slow, sorry. For the 9th grade field trip, we would get the information through through the PupilPath for the 9th graders that Mr. Robinson just said for the bowling trip.
Students will be bringing home permission slips.
Got you.
To be signed.
Okay. And are they traveling? You're traveling on the MTA?
I'll have to look into that. I'm not sure if we're traveling on MTA or if we got some buses.
Okay. All right.
But it'll all be on the field trip slip too.
Okay. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
And to reiterate, it's not the entire grade.
Correct.
Okay. If there's no further questions, moving on. Oh, wait, Miss Attwood. Yes.
Yes, I wouldn't be, since I'm co-treasurer again, I wouldn't end the meeting without reminding people that we ask for contribution to the PTA. That's the fundraising that we do, allows us to help the teacher, which in turn help our students. Traditionally, when we had in-person meetings, we would ask people to contribute $5 per meeting, or just opt out of further fundraising and just give all 10 meetings, like all $50 all at once. If you feel very generous and you want to give more, or if you have issues and you can't give, like, it's really no issue, like nothing bad will happen. But if you can, we really would appreciate. I just posted in the chat the link to ChatterUp, which is the online platform that we use for fundraising for the PTA. So any donation is greatly appreciated. Thank you.
Thank you very much. moving on. Does anybody have any questions, concerns, ideas? All right, I believe, next slide. Our next meeting will be December 16th, and it's going to be 2 meetings. We're doing this to try to go and bring in more people and see whether or not a different time frame would work. You don't have to attend both meetings. You only have to, well, you don't have to, but it would be greatly appreciated if you could at least have attend one meeting. And because we're going to be doing 2 sessions, Ms. Brown, are we doing 2 baskets, 1 for each? Okay, so we are going to be doing 2 sets of baskets, 1 for each time frame. So by all means, please attend 1, but if you attend both, that does not mean you'll be allowed to get 2 baskets. You can only put your name in 1 time. Miss Attwood, can you please respond to the question that's in the chat?
At this time, it's really difficult for us to accept checks because checks have to be mailed to the school and our access to the school building is still restricted. So it would be much easier. That's why we found this online platform. If it's the only way that you can contribute, then of course we will accept your check. But it definitely would be easier for us if you use CheddarUp. If you send a check, you're going to send it to the PTA at the school's address, and it will be in our mail slot. And then, of course, we do try to, one person in the PTA tries to go on a regular basis, but it's definitely not going to be as immediate for us to be able to deposit it in the bank account. I hope that answers the question.
And Ms. Allen, if you want, you can go and send me a private message with your email address and we'll follow up with you. All right, if there's no further questions. Oh, and one more thing that we're going to change with the registration is when you register, the system was going to automatically email you. In the past, we've asked that you email the Abraham Lincoln website. We're going to try something a little different and have you register directly through a particular link. So bear with us. There may be some complications to it. So of course you can always email the Abraham Lincoln website and we'll follow up with you and just work through this new process. Ms. Sandor has done a phenomenal job in the past, but we need her to help with other things. And I do know we have Ms. Hawley coming on as well, but if we can have them work on other actions to go and put out more communication and have the system work on putting out the information for the meetings, it would definitely help. If there's no further questions, have a great night. Happy Thanksgiving, happy Hanukkah, and I look forward to seeing everybody December 16th. The executive board, please stay on a few more moments. Thank you, Mr. Molina. Have a good night. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye, guys. Have a good night.
Thank you. Have a good night. Mr.
Thanks,
Mr.
everybody.
Robinson, thank you.
Have a good night.
Good night, everyone.
Good night.
Good night. Thank you.
Okay, hold on 1 second. I'm trying to end recording. You sure you want to stop recording?